Welcome to Literary Bites, a podcast of short stories with deep feelings, written and presented by me, Cassie Hamer. The story for this episode is titled Habitat, and it won second place in the Margaret River Press Short Story Award. It's inspired by a holiday I had on the Gold Coast with my husband and 3 daughters who were all quite young at the time and at that perfect age for the theme parks. They in particular wanted to visit SeaWorld, an aquatic themed park with incredible marine life exhibits and thrilling rides. My middle child, who loves snorkeling and scuba diving, was absolutely thrilled to be chosen during the dolphin show to meet and touch a dolphin. It was an incredible spectacle, but left me with conflicting feelings about the ethics of keeping such intelligent animals in captivity and for the purposes of entertaining humans. In fact, I found the Gold Coast itself quite a conundrum, an area that's renowned for its tourism and high-rises on the beach. I also found offered a lot of natural beauty. And it's this clash of humans versus nature that I explore in the story via the prism of a young family that's recently relocated there. I hope you enjoy it. Habitat by Cassie Hamer. Here, in this new place, Rachel's daughter wakes with the birds. September, nesting season. Sienna wants to visit the beach, and even though there are boxes still to unpack, Tim says yes. The rules he'll bend to make this work. Outside, there's the smell of fire in the air, and a slim reed of smoke levitates over the hinterland behind them. Sienna cranes her neck to see it. "Backburning, I think," says Rachel. "What's backburning?" Sienna skips ahead and turns. "It's when you burn a piece of bush to stop a bushfire from spreading," says Rachel. "My teacher says the Aborigines did that, and they believe the earth is our mother," recites Sienna and stops. "If the earth's your mother, why would you burn it?" Tim smiles and winks at Rachel. One of those 8-year-old questions. "Well, being a mum is about sacrifice," says Rachel. But her daughter is frowning, so she tries again. "Sometimes you have to burn things to make them grow how you want them to." They pass the apartment that blocks most of their ocean view and is currently under demolition. From their street, it seems untouched, but around the corner, it's an eviscerated mess of concrete shards, snapped reinforcements and hallways to nowhere. Like a partially dissected rat, thinks Rachel, remembering Year 9 biology. Those sweet whiskers, the wormy entrails, the ugliness of pulling apart a perfectly formed thing. And for what? For kids to laugh and poke? On the street, Tim stops to watch, grins back at her. "We might get our ocean view back," he says, "for a little while." Already there is the slow dinosaur swing of cranes signalling a rebuild. This is a city where development never sleeps. Mentally, Rachel has this place pegged, the flash and the trash, but physically her body is still a stranger to it. At night her fingers feather the wall until they find the light switch for the bathroom, and in the morning there are bruises where her hip caught a bench top and her knee banged the towel rack. The spacious house Tim promised is actually a 3-bedroom townhouse where the brick veneer is blonde as biscuit and the walls reply empty when you knock them. If you stand on the balcony and lean sideways over the railing, there's a minute glimpse of ocean. But no one can maintain such an awkward post for long. On their first day, Rachel took a photo for Facebook, but the camera lens saw only apartment blocks and power lines with a minuscule postage stamp of blue, so she didn't bother posting it. Sienna's in the second biggest bedroom. On day 1, she nosed out everything like an excited puppy, bounced on beds, claimed her turf. She hasn't asked how they'll use the 3rd bedroom, and Rachel has said nothing. 4 more weeks, then it'll be safe to tell her. At the beach, Sienna skips down to the sand and Tim pauses at the top of the stairs. "It's actually kind of beautiful, isn't it?" he says. To say no would be childish. The sky is soft serve ice cream, all pink strawberries, lilac blueberries, and creamy vanillas. The first glint of a honeycomb sun arcs above the ocean's horizon and climbs quickly, scattering diamonds as it goes. In the moist heat, the colours go syrupy. Sienna and Tim frolic in the water. Rachel watches the tourists, taking photos, videoing the sunrise, an early start for people who are on holiday. When Sienna's hat flies away, one of them runs for it. In knee-high socks and joggers, the middle-aged man brings it back, bows, points, and smiles at Sienna's blondness, calls his wife over to stand next to her and gestures to the camera. Sienna's smile is pasted, eyes uncertain, and Rachel gives her a smile and a shrug. What can you do? The photos end, the tourists go back to photographing the horizon, and Sienna returns to jump waves with her dad. Rachel leaves them to it and wanders up the sand, strangely smooth and marked only by bulldozer tracks and cigarette butts. On the horizon there's a cargo ship, a lonely yacht, a surfer or two. And fins. She stops, squints. Now there's more than one, 2, 3, too many to count. Up and down, porpoising, threading the waves, surfing them. Rachel exhales, smiles properly for the first time in this place. As she makes her way back to tell Tim and Sienna about the dolphins, she walks in someone else's footprints to stop her feet sinking so far into the sand. Sienna wants a dog, and Tim thinks it's a good idea. He'll be away at the mine from Monday to Friday. It'll be company for Rachel when Sienna's at school. We actually still own 2 dogs, if you remember, Rachel thinks, but does not say. She's rung their old neighbours twice already on the pretext of asking them to check the mailbox, even though the real estate agent usually does it when he takes potential buyers around the property. There's been no rain, they say. Feed's getting low and they'll have to think about buying in the hay soon. "And how are the dogs?" she adds casually at the end. The neighbours love them. Can't believe what good working dogs they are, that Rachel was willing to give them away. They're extremely grateful. I wasn't exactly willing, she thinks. But Surfer's Paradise is no place for working dogs. She knows that. What would they round up? Drunk 17-year-olds? Rachel agrees to the new dog, but only on condition they get it from the RSPCA. It's wasteful to spend money on a new puppy when so many others need a home. The drive to the pound takes them into hobby farming territory in the hinterland. A watchful horse or 2, goats, a herd of 10 or so cows. "Look, Sienna, just like home," says Rachel. Sienna pulls against her seatbelt. "But ours are Angus, not Herefords." The rebuke can't stop Rachel's small swell of pride that her daughter remembers. "So much grass for them," says Tim, looking out the window. "Farming here must be like shooting fish in a barrel." They come to a brick building at the edge of an industrial estate, weeds growing out of concrete. Inside smells like a vet's, wet fur and cleaning fluid. The receptionist tells them to take a look around. If there's something they like the look of, they're to come back and someone will get the keys. They head for the dog section. Another wire gate and then another. At the last one, the barking begins, a baying wall of it, filling Rachel's ears, her nostrils, her mouth. Sienna takes her hand, clammy, nervous, and Rachel squeezes. "Look, they're wagging their tails, hun. Just excited to see us, that's all," she says, raising her voice to be heard over the noise. Tim stops in front of a cage, hands on hips, and looks at a dog that resembles a toilet brush. "I thought you hated poodles," says Rachel. "Well, they're smart, and they don't shed like other dogs." "Oh, it's so cute!" Sienna drops Rachel's hand and takes his. Together they read the plastic laminated tag on the wire. Polly is a slightly skittish but very friendly little girl. She requires a strong, confident family who will show her the rules before the cuddles. She overcomes her fears through experienced handling where nothing comes for free. The more you make her work for it, the more she respects you and will follow your leadership. Dog and child friendly, but a meet and greet is essential. Won't shed, $400, fully vaccinated and microchipped. "She needs a psychologist more than an owner," mutters Rachel. Tim looks at her. "She sounds exactly like a working dog." Sienna has bent down to stick her hand through the diamond wire and Polly licks her fingers. "I think she likes me." When they leave, the pound assistant carrying Polly, the barking starts up again, high-pitched, two-syllabled, like they are shouting, "Save us." When Rachel visited the abattoir for the first time, they'd shown her everything in reverse. The workers putting slabs of plastic-wrapped meat into oversized styrofoam boxes. Then the cutting room, long tables, knives slicing through fat and muscle like they were nothing. The clean, fleshy smell of a butcher's shop. Next, carcasses hanging from hooks, industrial-sized saws slicing them in half from breast to bum, heads already removed. Why had she come? To make herself feel better, she supposed, or at least informed. After all, she had raised the cattle, only 50 head, just something to fill the long days while Tim was away working. Still, she couldn't pretend the abattoir wasn't part of it, and she knew someone who knew someone else who could take her round. All that gear, shower cap and face mask, white hazmat-style suit, gumboots and hard hat. The HR manager had smiled at her. "Don't worry, we won't make you do anything. Just occupational health and safety, that's all." They didn't take her into the bleeding room or the pens where they actually stunned the cattle. "It can be a bit much for some," said the HR manager, hands twisting. "But we can show you the lot where they go in." "Okay," said Rachel, and later regretted it. The bellowing, the shit. Not the sweet, grassy pats of the paddock, but the blue-green stuff of fear. The eyes looking at her, eyes that, 10 minutes from now, would blink no more. It was like they were saying, "Save us." When they leave the pound, they get a receipt. Dog, $400, leash, $12, collar, $6.95. At the bottom, there's a phone number for a hotline. Animals, abuse them and you lose them. See it, report it, 24-hour hotline. There's a 1-month cooling off period on all purchases, they're told. Rachel folds the receipt and puts it in her handbag, just in case Polly doesn't work out. The first night, the dog cries at the laundry door. She's done a wee on the floor. Sienna laughs, Rachel gets the mop, and Tim rubs Polly's nose in the urine. "Naughty girl," he says, hunkered over the quivering piece of cotton fluff. "Daddy, you're hurting her." Sienna goes to the cowering pup. "She needs to learn." Rachel squeezes the mop. "Not like that." It's 2 weeks to Christmas, midday, and the Queensland sun beats like a drum. Rachel stands in the shadows of a cartoon character, watching a pale teenager, her ponytail thrust through the back of her cap, mouth turned down. "Stephanie," says the name tag. Stephanie herds the next group onto the ride. "Like I told you, there has to be 1 adult and 1 child per carriage." It's a group of 4 tourists, Asian, glossy black hair, big sun hats. Rachel should be happy to have this supervisory role at the theme park, she knows. She's seen enough people hanging out in the shops at 11 a.m. to know that unemployment is rife. The job is low stress, fits with school hours, and all she has to do is walk around the theme park, making sure the ride attendants, like the sullen Stephanie, enforce the height and weight rules. Check they have water and sunscreen now that it's getting hot. One of Tim's bosses at the mine set it up, and the money's good for what it is. But her nausea hates the weird mix of smells. The pelican poo mingled with hot chips and dead fish. And there are days like today where it's almost too humid to be civil. Stephanie holds the height measuring stick in one hand, the other on her hip. The tourists look at each other, confused and not moving. Look, you sit here and she sits there. Stephanie motions for them to get out and rearrange themselves, which eventually they do. Okay, folks, arms up. Everyone behind the tourists obediently responds, and Stephanie starts securing the harnesses. Arms up, she says, grabs one of the Asian passenger's arms, lifts it and puts the harness in place. The tourist bows her head in thanks. Rachel steps up to the mini control room where Stephanie is now sitting and scrolling through her Instagram feed while the roller coaster makes dizzying loops. Everything okay here? Rachel passes her a bottle of water. Stephanie shakes her head. Bloody tourists never listen. They might if you spoke their language, Rachel thinks. It's hard in this heat, she murmurs. Try to keep cool. She moves off and makes a mental note to say something to the HR manager at the end of the shift. She tries to catch the dolphin show at least once a day, usually the 1 p.m. session. Her favourite dolphin is Cisco, the one who shoots his trainer high in the air off his nose. In the old show, the trainer rode him like a water ski, but they don't do that anymore because of problems with the animal rights people. The MC tells the crowd that Cisco came to the park with injuries from a boating accident. They always do this, tell everyone how the dolphins were either rescued or relocated. The show is all about the connection between dolphin and human, and there's a line where the MC says something like, "Dolphins are the second smartest species on the planet." When he says this, 4 dolphins leap in the air simultaneously and return to their trainers for a fish. The tourists ooh and ah as the dolphins continue to jump about the lagoon with its fake sandy beaches and plastic beach huts. The show itself is free, but for an extra $125, you can touch a dolphin and get a photo in the water with one of them. Rachel's thought about booking it for Sienna's birthday. There might be a staff discount. After the show, she stops to say hi to Cisco's trainer, Petra, who's on exchange from San Diego. "Better show today?" asks Rachel. Petra grimaces. "He's still off." Cisco's going through puberty and beating up on the females, which means he's had to be separated into his own pen at all times, except for during the show. Now, instead of just being frustrated, he's depressed as well. Petra shrugs. "We can put him on uppers." "Yeah? Well, sure, they're just like us, remember?" "Wouldn't it be easier to just let him go?" Rachel motions in the direction of the ocean, which they can't see, but on a windy day can smell. He wouldn't survive 2 minutes out there. Petra picks up the bucket. And besides, why would he want to be out there when he gets treated like a prince in here? Petra walks off along the elevated boardwalk over the lagoon. In the water, Cisco trails behind, snout out of the water, following the dead fish into his single pen. When Petra closes the gate, Cisco squeals. "Save me," is what Rachel hears. Polly's yapping is loud enough for them to hear from the underground garage, and as they get closer to the front door, it becomes more and more frenzied, paws skittering on tiles. "Here, can you hold this?" Rachel hands the shopping to Sienna, who's slouched against the wall, school bag propping her up. The neighbour's door opens. "It's irresponsible, you know." The words are spat out from beneath a white moustache. Crescents of spit hang in each corner of his mouth like quotation marks. "Excuse me?" Rachel reaches into her handbag for a house key. "To leave a dog like that." She stops. "I'm sorry, but my husband's out at the mine and I work." "I don't care what you do. Just fix that noise or I'll get the strata onto it." The door slams. "Mummy, what does he mean?" Sienna shifts weight from foot to foot like she needs the toilet. "It's all right, sweetheart," Rachel says in a low voice. "He's just tired and cranky. Come inside." In the front hall, Sienna throws her bag to the ground and scoops Polly into her arms. The dog licks her like an ice cream. "No, Polly, no!" shrieks Sienna, nearly crying with laughter. Tim's home late, but Rachel is still awake, seething, and she tells him about her day, Stephanie, Cisco, the neighbour. "Don't worry about him." Under the sheets, he squeezes her thigh. "But we have to live here." "Well, the agent rang me today. Might have a buyer for the old place, so we can start looking here if you want." His hand stays there, not moving, and she has the urge to wriggle like a hooked fish. "Maybe that canal area. It's pretty nice round there. Few bull sharks, though." "But what do we do about Polly till then?" "I'm off now till after Christmas." "Why?" asked Rachel. "What's happened?" They found a frog at the site, some kind of rare one that they're going to have to move on the quiet, costing the mine thousands as it is. Everyone sent home early. He chuckles and slings an arm over her stomach, over the baby. All for a bloody frog. Rachel moves his arm. "Sorry, babe." Tim pats the solid bulge in her stomach. "Time to start telling people, eh? Quit your job if you like, once the farm money comes through." "But I like my job." Rachel is grateful for the dark, that he can't see how the lie has caused her face to warp and melt like a Dali painting. She sits up quickly, agitated. "I'm just going to get some water." Her handbag is on the kitchen bench, slouched. Her fingers reach into the dark and find the receipt with such ease that she knows this is meant to be. She turns it over. "Animals. Abuse them and you lose them. See it? Report it. 24-hour hotline." The phone is kindling in her hands and dialing is like lighting a match. She speaks slowly and cells multiply silently inside of her, morphing into limbs, green with new life. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Literary Bites, and if you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating or a review. You can also find more of my work, including info about my novels, at my website, cassiehamer.com. Until next time, thanks again for listening.